Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Mental Muscle Mondays, and I'm Nick Davenport, aka Mr. Mental Muscle. Now, I want to talk about the multiverse of anxiety. Now, you're thinking, these are two unrelated terms. What do they have to do with each other? Now, if you're unfamiliar with what a multiverse is, scientists break this down as a theory of having multiple universes outside of our own. Now, if you ever see movies like Interstellar, Everything Everywhere All at Once, or even the new Doctor Strange movie, you can understand the concept. There's a universe where there's a you that exists outside of this one. There's multiple of those. Sometimes you're very similar to yourself. You look the same, act the same, but you might have a different job. But some may go extreme as you're just a completely different personality, completely different person, job, sometimes a different species. So this is the concept of a multiverse. Now, bringing it back to anxiety, what does it have to do with that? Anxiety is the worries, the doubts, the stressors that we predict ahead of time, and sometimes we consume ourselves with these worries. And anxiety has physical aspects too, such as the fight or flight response, increased heart rate, perspiration, your breath rate increasing. So there's things that come with that. Now, the problem is when we bring them together, we put these predictions, these timelines, if you will, that have a combination of different ways that each scenario can play out. When we talk about a multiverse. So with anxiety, you might see one scenario playing out this way, then another way, then another, and all on top of each other. You're overwhelmed. When we think about that from a cognitive aspect, the more cognitive load you put on these actual thoughts, it takes actual neurons firing. So mean you're wasting space on things that have yet to come. Now, this isn't a bad thing because evolutionary speaking, these predictions helped us stay alive. You're only here because thousands of years ago, your ancestors made the right choices, the right predictions that got you to this point. But the problem is we have more things to worry about than back then. You know, survival was number one. It's still survival, but it looks a little different. Instead of foraging for food, hunting, gathering, finding clean water, finding shelter, we still do those things to a different extent, but we have other alternatives. We don't have to worry about likes and views on social media, a loved one texting us back, the apprehensions of a job interview. These things just weren't there. But guess what? Our brain adapted to certain standards, but it still carry over to how society adapted and evolved. Just like some animals might move to a different habitat and take over, they learn to habitate the best it can with the other surroundings. And that's how we are. So going back to this multiverse, what happens is you play out all these different scenarios. And I say that's not a bad thing. Have those predictions because this helps you plan out and the best adjust to the potential dangers or threats or opportunities we may have. But the problem is try to neutralize the ones that don't make sense. I'm big on telling my clients to say, hey, look this direction, figure it out. But if that doesn't make sense and you see that if I'm worrying about something that may not even be relevant, stop it right there, then go to the next one. Because once you address these things, you can better equip yourself to go to the ones that really matter because there will be apprehensions, there will be doubts that may play a factor. So it's up to you to fight in the correct multiverse. Because just like those movies, there were some that were kind of out of this world, didn't really make sense and didn't matter, but there was others where they were bigger, stronger, better. So try to find the ones that where you can grow and be productive. That's the key word, productive. There's no such thing as a perfect scenario, but you can definitely take what you have, build up off of it, and get your mind right. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a great rest of your week.